much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Tiia, for those not familiar with you, and by the way, you say your name Tiia, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So for those not familiar with you, Tiia, do you mind sharing a little bit about your background in real estate?
Yeah. So in real estate, I'm from Finland originally. I met my husband here in California 10 years ago. We moved to Finland together. My background in general is in hospitality. So I had 2 restaurants before in Finland with my husband. And then when we decided to move here, it was during the pandemic, so that was a weird time. But as far as like when did I get into real estate, was it 3 years ago in October. As of now, I think my EXP anniversary is coming up. So I always been with EXP, but I didn't really do much with real estate my first year. So I was pregnant at the time, and then when I had the baby, it was just too much. So my first year and a half, I really wasn't doing much. I sold 1 home, and I was thinking maybe it's not even for me, because I was running into issues of I don't have any sphere, and how do I generate business? And I was busy with the baby at home. And what kind of catapulted me and my focus in real estate, my husband got out of nowhere extra 6 weeks of paternity. So that was the green light that we have been waiting for, as far as, okay, this is now, I get to go full on real estate. That's when I joined John and Leslie because of the Zillow opportunities. And I really saw a great opening there for me. And I put just my head down, and I've been doing real estate now for a year and a half. We have sold 18 homes, and we have 2 in pending. So
that's awesome. And
most of them have been Zillow.
Most of them have been Zillow. Okay, very cool. I'm curious. You said the Zillow opportunity kind of spoke to you. Was there an advertisement or something that you saw that mentioned that, or was that just in talking with John? Like, how did that come about that you decided to join the team?
There was a previous team member on the team that I was before. She had joined, and I saw another person that I had followed on Instagram joined that team as well. And both of these individuals were kind of somebody that I looked up to. And I had a conversation with one of them on the phone. And then I eventually had a conversation with our sales manager, Jillian. And the conversation with Jill lasted 45 minutes. And that was our very first conversation we ever had. So I just knew that it was, first of all, the right place for me, but then I could also utilize those Zillow opportunities day one.
What was it about Zillow that she said that got you excited?
Just that I knew that I could work leads if I was given the opportunity. But before the environment where I was before, and I hope that this doesn't get shared too much, but the environment was you just had to prove yourself first before they gave you those opportunities. And I was just running into this dilemma of how am I proving myself if I don't have the sphere and don't necessarily even have the confidence in real estate yet, because I never really worked in the United States. I never worked in a different language before. So how do I get those opportunities? So it was kind of a catch 20, is it 21 or 22? 22. So
hey, by the way, I don't know any Finnish expressions, so you're doing really well. No worries.
Yeah. So I was just running into this dilemma of how do I prove myself if I don't have that existing sphere, and I can go and do open houses, but my confidence is not really coming through because I haven't sold. So what is my platform that I'm trying to convince these people? So when I spoke with John and Jill about Zillow, I just knew, okay, like at least I'm going to be given the opportunities, and it's just for me to figure out how do I work this so that it's fruitful for us.
And so thanks for sharing that, by the way. When you joined the team, I know you went through the Zillow training, and I know John and Leslie have training of their own, and I got to be part of that yesterday. That was cool. What was it about the training, either from Zillow or John and Leslie's, that you found most helpful?
I think that Jillian is really been a tremendous help. And I think that not necessarily like anything formal training, but every time I have frustrations or questions or gaps in my knowledge or how I was doing things. I was very vulnerable about the fact that I don't know something. Or so we had conversations every week, one-on-ones, where I would go to her and I'd be just asking, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Where can I improve? So I don't think that it was anything formal. I think that those one-on-ones really did help me. And I love SISU. And SISU is also a Finnish word. It's one of the two Finnish words that everybody knows about. It's sauna and SISU. And SISU means, in Finnish, it means perseverance. And I think that I don't know why the founder decided to name the company SISU or the platform SISU, but that has always somewhat spoken to me. And I was like, I really need to dive into this tool. And now looking at SISU, it's my daily kind of habit that I do. So I think that it was just being vulnerable and being ready to learn and having that accountability from my team managers was huge.
I'm curious, and again, there's no right or wrong answer here. You're obviously doing very well for yourself. But a lot of the agents that I talk to who do the live transfers and have to go confirm with the seller, they actually view that second phone call as an opportunity for them to build more rapport, to give them a heads up for whatever touring agreement they're going to use, and to ask them more information, kind of start doing more of a buyer consultation on that second phone call. But you don't do that, and I'm curious, why not? Why don't you make that second phone call?
I don't know. I think that it's maybe it's just the demographic and the clientele that we have in the Bay Area. It's everybody has apps and are very tech savvy here. So maybe it is me trying to take away some of that friction. Maybe some people don't want to talk on the phone as much. As example, if I used to live in Texas, and in Texas I would probably do things a little bit differently because maybe they just value that a little bit more. But I feel like in the Bay Area things are so fast paced in general, so people just want to get to the point. And then typically when I go to that appointment, that's when I tell the information, what I learned from the listing agent, what I have learned from the disclosures, how the market is, and then I try to have that 15-minute kitchen counter conversation with them.
So I'm curious, if you're not doing that second phone call, when are you bringing up the buyer rep agreement?
I just send a text message. I have a templatized text message that I send for people. And then if they are not signing it, that's when I give them a phone call just to remind them that we do need to have this signed. I'm also utilizing the Zillow touring agreements. So that also gets sent out to people.
I'm curious. You said you have a templatized text message. What does it say?
It just basically goes into that since of August of 2024, this is a federal law that has changed, and now every agent in this country needs to have a signed agreement prior to touring the home. It can be a single property tour, or it can be one for multiple properties, but we can make it so that it ends in 1 week. It was just sent to your email. Please sign before. If you have any questions at all, we can always hop on a Zoom call together.
Are you saying that you use the buyer rep agreement, but it's a single property, or are you using the Zillow touring agreement?
The Zillow touring agreement gets sent out automatically. I've been using both. I kind of flip-flop between the two, but now lately we've been using the Zillow agreement more than the single.
And this is a big kind of, I'll say, debate among the Zillow Flex agents, is which one do you use, the Zillow touring agreement, the single property, or the full-fledged buyer rep agreement? And I'm just curious, you said you flip-flop between the first two, the Zillow touring and the single property. Why? Why do you flip-flop between the two?
I was doing the Zillow touring agreements first, and then I had an incident where basically when you start reading into the document itself, it basically says that it's just for touring services. So there was a lot of confusion with the client as far as he basically wanted me to write an offer, and then decided to go and work with another agent just before I was about to submit the offer for signatures. And then when I went back and looked at it, I was like, well, he's right. It is just for touring touring services, not for me to write an offer. So that just was very irritating. So then that's when I switched to the EXP single property tour agreement. But I was running into an issue where, because I do meet so many people, I was spending a lot of time putting those single property touring agreements together. Plus, I felt like SkySlope was always crashing. So it just got me really frustrated. And then I was just, it's better for me to take the chances and do the Zillow touring agreement and then build that rapport than it is for me to not jeopardize my mental health, but it just gets me really riled up if technology is not working. So it was just putting me in such a bad mindset before I go on these tours. So I just stopped doing it. And now I think we've been doing the Zillow touring agreements maybe 3 months or so.
Yeah, I talked to a team the other day that they do a showing specialist model, and it was really interesting. So we've got the Zillow touring agreement set. We go tour the property. There's different types of agents. Some are like, hey, okay, now that you've signed the buyer rep, here's the door open. I'll stand here in the kitchen and wait for you. Go see what you like, what you don't like. Or are you the kind of agent that kind of goes and walks the home with me and asks questions then? How do you do it?
I do it where I stay back. Chris goes with the client. So it's
kind of cheating. You guys do both.
Yeah. I typically try to stay back because it also gives me a chance to kind of refresh all of that information about the home. So when they come back to the kitchen, I'm able to tell them about the home, and then I'm addressing some of the issues that it may have that came up in the disclosures. I like to stay when we looking to buy a car or something. I typically don't like when a salesperson is right there next to me. I need a little bit more personal space. Whereas Chris is very much like, yeah, come with me and explain everything, every single detail as I'm looking at them. So I think that it just comes down to like what we both personally like. Sometimes I do have, if we look at the DISC personalities, I do have the hardest time with the type, like a party type, very extroverted feel type of person, whereas Chris is really good with those people, and he used to be a journalist, so he kind of, can feed into that energy, versus I'm really data driven and information in general. So yeah, for me, it's hard to keep that energy up if I'm with the client all the time. So
at the end of the tour, you're getting back together and you're asking them in some way or another, do you want to buy this home? How do you ask?
I asked them to rate it from 1 to 7, which I have learned from John and Leslie, because nobody rates homes at 10. So if it's 4 or 7, or if it's below 4, we're not even going to talk about it really. If it's 4 or 7, we're going to look at disclosures. And if it's 6 or 7, we're putting an offer. So then it kind of gives me an idea of like, okay, where do we need to take this conversation next? Do we need to talk about pre-approval, or should we just talk about the buying process in general? And yeah, that's typically my first question that I ask.
Okay. And so they're going to tell you whatever they tell you, and you're going to ask, so, if it's good, so are you ready to write an offer? How do you ask that?
I just go basically, are you pre-approved? If you're not, I have a couple of really great lenders that I work with. That's the first step. We should get you pre-approved. And then offers, typically we have offer due dates. So then I verbalize that offers are due next Tuesday. Do you have time to sit down on Zoom or in person to look at what the offering process would look like and what you feel comfortable offering?
All right. Tiia, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. This has been great.